When I was 16, I heard about a climate activist named Greta Thunberg. She was only 16 to lead a climate movement which was later joined by 4 other million people all over the world. Along with the rise of global strike movement, I came across her TED Talk during my humanities class. Back then, I had no idea as to what climate change was. But as the same teenage girl, I was inspired by her courageous way of standing up for what she believed in. From that day, I became curious as to what was happening on this planet. So I started to read books, watched videos related to topics like air pollution, fast fashion, waste management, and so on. The learning process was fascinating, but at the same time, alarming. The most alarming time was when I discovered about the tipping point. These are some photos of climate clocks located in different cities around the world. These clocks are different from normal clocks. They indicate the time before we reach the tipping point. Well, what is tipping point? When certain amounts of greenhouse gas accumulate in the air, it'll reach a tipping point. It triggers a series of irreversible climate events, which has devastating impacts on our ecosystem. Simply said, tipping point is a critical point in a situation where it triggers unstoppable effects or changes on Earth. In this case, the unstoppable effects of global warming will be frequent natural disasters, heat waves, and worsening air quality. According to IPCC, the tipping point is likely to take place when the global temperature reaches 2 degrees Celsius. It seems like a faraway future, right? But at the current rate of greenhouse gas emission, we are easily to reach the tipping point by 2030. That leaves us 8 years from today. 8 years. Now, in 2030, most of us, including myself, will be adults, out in society, playing an important role. However, the burdens of climate crisis will remain. Our generations will be the one responsible, and we will be left to deal with the effects of global warming. So, the more I got to know about this crisis, the more devastated I became. I got worried. I got anxious. I looked around, but only to find people who didn't really seem to know that global warming was happening. I asked myself, how do these people manage to stay so calm in the midst of a crisis? Do they not know about this? Or are they avoiding it? I mean, I get that greenhouse gas and temperature rises are invisible, but the effects of global warming are visible. In fact, they're obvious. If you start becoming aware of this issue, you'll discover the signs that our planet is sending us. The signs that I found are some things like melting glaciers, rising sea levels, loss of biodiversity, and many more. They are all signs of climate crisis. It's just that we didn't notice. Now, fast forward to 2019, my school went online. Little did we know that this invisible virus would change our lives for the past 3 years. Look around. We're wearing masks, social distancing. The effects of COVID is intertwined within our daily lives. Speaking of infectious disease, have you heard of something called zoonotic disease? Zoonotic disease is a virus that is transmitted between animals and humans. 60% of infectious diseases are zoonotic disease. COVID is one of them. The interesting fact here is that we can find correlations between zoonotic disease and root causes of climate change. Let me hold an example. So there's a bat living in a forest, but then the humans come and start cutting down trees. They're destroying their habitats. Now, the bats decide to migrate to somewhere they've never been before. There, they come in contact with animals that they've never been in contact before. Let's say livestock animals, like pigs. Now, these pigs are to be eaten by humans a few days later. When pig and bats come in contact, the viral gene in bats and host cells in pigs, they combine. This is when virus is formed. And when that infected pig is eaten by humans, that's when the virus is transmitted between animals to humans. Zoonotic disease. Now, do you get how human activities like cutting trees and eating meat is giving a rise to infectious disease? It may not be the same case for COVID, but with increasing impacts of human activities, it is likely that infectious diseases like COVID will interfere within our lives. Surprisingly, this is just the start. It'll get worse. I mean it. Our future is in jeopardy. So we have to start now. We have to start changing, and we have to start protecting our future. And we'll be more successful if we do it together. But how? We can become conscious of this problem. The actions we take as conscious individuals will determine whether we worsen the situations or slow down the pace till we reach the tipping point. What I mean by consciousness is acknowledging the problem, advocating for the problem, and taking actions to resolve the problem. My consciousness made me to take actions. I became a conscious consumer by finding sustainable brands and shopping locally. I found communities where I can learn more things and share my passion with other people, like School Eco Club. Most of all, here I am, a bit nervous, but I'm on a stage because I want all of you guys to know that something bad is happening right at this moment. See? Consciousness matters. Individual changes matter. That's why, in order to combat climate crisis, we need to become conscious. Thank you.